The core idea of this house is very much striving for this considered simplicity. The house itself has a footprint of 60 square metres. Over the 2 storeys, it's double that, 120 square metres. And to make a house that's so compact still work and feel spacious and livable and lovable, it requires some architectural ideas.
My husband and I bought the house in 1994, the original house, which was a 1912 Edwardian. When my husband died, I was looking to sell the house. I'd always had this dream that, in fact, I might have a tiny house built on the laneway here. But when I did the sums, I just couldn't work out a way of doing that. And then Michael said, why don't I fund this house and then I can move into the old house.
Maddie and Michael's brief was quite unique, but actually something we're hearing more of. The brief was to build a second dwelling on an existing property out the back of the existing house. This brief addresses a lot of topical issues: ageing in place, increasing density, housing affordability and sustainability, both from the point of view of what we consume in building and occupying our buildings, but also in terms of social sustainability, being able to stay in communities.
The brief was the house wouldn't feel sort of completely brand new, and it'd feel like it had sort of been in the neighbourhood for a long time.
It was also having light and air coming through to be sustainable, but in particular, I was looking for a place that I could grow old in.
Walking in the front door, we've got a guest bedroom, but it's also set up to be able to be Maddie's bedroom down the track. It's a whole thing of ageing in place and being able to have single level living in the future. We've then got a big bathroom in between it and then the main living room out the back. In the hallway, we've got the stairwell, and underneath that, just a compact laundry. Then upstairs, we've got a second living / study for Maddie, which also engages with the street, and then this lovely bedroom at the back that has a lovely sense of tranquility floating in the leaves and branches of this beautiful established gum tree. Obviously, sustainability is important in all of our work and why a lot of our clients come to us. Big picture, a project like this, increasing the density we see as a more sustainable use of our land, and environmentally as well as socially, is a very important part of growing our inner suburban areas sustainably. But this particular house itself, it's all electric in its operation and produces much of the power that it uses on the site through the roof-mounted solar. The envelope is thermally very sound. The brickwork for its thermal stability, and then high-performance windows, the European hardware, the tilt and turn windows and lift and slide doors are all very thermally sound. And one of the key features in this particular house from that passive solar point of view is the external blinds on the west façade, which they would completely overheat if they were left unshaded. So these external Venetian blinds are a really great way of shading those windows. They enable us to completely control the sun that comes in. It's really important that we be able to look out to the street and engage with the community, but when that late afternoon summer sun's setting, we can completely close the blinds or have them set to still let in the ambient light and the views out, but block out that direct sun. And a really lovely way of animating the facade as well.
We've had several days that have been high 30s up to 40 degrees or so. What I've loved about here is that I haven't even had to use the air conditioning on those days, perhaps for an hour in the late afternoon, just to cool the bedroom before the night. So the highest it's got up to in here has been about 25 degrees on a 40-degree day, which has just been fantastic.
I grew up in this house next door and certainly lived through heat waves, and it was never pleasant, but having this house next door really throws into like very sharp relief what a properly insulated house feels like to live in.
The materials have a nice, quiet tranquility to them. Externally, we've used recycled brick, but it's been bagged in one white render to bring it all together as to one unified whole while still expressing its recycling source. Internally, those materials come in, but then are balanced against the lovely natural materials, which really reinforce the warmth and the connection with nature. It's not busy, it's quiet and calm. The brick internally is a really important element from both the acoustic and thermal point of view, especially being hard up against the lane there, wanting to maintain that sense of privacy and security whilst being thermally sound. It's really hard wearing, and having it travel from inside to outside really unites those spaces. The timber floors and timber cabinetry then are a really nice natural material against that quite hard brick, and very tactile, and reinforce that connection with nature that we have with the courtyard. Our approach to sourcing materials is very much wanting them to be of this place where possible. We're wanting to use Australian hardwoods, so whether that's the black butt cabinetry or the messmate floor, I think that's really important for us, that we're building stuff that's of this place. There's something beautiful about little houses. Like, they are often very endearing in a way, I like to say, and simplicity only enhances that. If there's too much complexity going on, whether that be through form or materials, sometimes it can be just too much and become too busy. And that doesn't mean necessarily stripping everything back. We can still have warmth and tactility and natural materials. Inside, giving it a sense of space that's far greater than its modest footprint is a challenge. So using the tricks like full height windows, full width, and having the door that opens all the way up onto the courtyard brings all that natural light in, connects you with the elements outside, and then that's accentuated by things like having the materials that flow inside and out. And the strip window, bringing the natural light in from the north over the top of the lane, all helps increase the sense of light. Ideas like having the island bench raised up off the floor and the floating cabinetry, the floor flows through, making the space feel bigger than what it actually is.
I really love the connection with the outside. I love the airflow through the house. That is fantastic, both summer and winter. But I also like the west-facing openness. I'm quite close to the street. I just love, in the mornings, hearing the chatter of the children as they go off to school. I watch people taking their dogs to the park up the laneway. We get to wave at neighbours out the front. I think for me it's just that joy of actually having space that actually allows me to be me, allows the connection with the community when I want it. When I'm feeling more introverted, I can actually close it off and actually be contained inside.
I think what's most pleasing for us is that we've been able to achieve exactly what Maddie and Michael set out to do. The passive solar design of this house, not compromising the passive solar performance of the existing house behind, addressing the street, interacting with the lane, all of the multiple planning requirements, the res code rules that need to be considered, to then bring all that together in a unified whole that doesn't feel like it's been designed around all these constraints and has a nice natural but restrained palette of materials and form, is one of the biggest challenges but the most satisfying things to achieve.